Good morning, everyone watching in the United Matters channel. Hope you guys are really having fun. And we are here to talk a little bit of United scouting Marc Guechi from Crystal Palace, a player who has been injured, and he's a very good central defender, left-footed centre back. And I've gone ahead to see one of the journalists that really works with Premier League football, as Tim Sherwood, coming out and slating Kobbie Mainoo. Then Antonio from West Ham has gone ahead and obviously talked of how a dinosaur of a leader Roy Keane was. Smash the like button, comment and share. If you're totally watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. This is what we are going to be doing today. We've gone ahead to come in late, but I think you'll bear with us. All right? You'll bear with us in here onto this channel. So smash the like button, comment and share. If you're totally watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. For the SP, I might be really sorry because it's Gueue, right? It's Gueue. Let me change it here. Gueue. Gueue. So that is it. So who is Marc Guechi? Marc Guechi is an English superstar, but he was born in Ivory Coast. He's 23 years of age. That is Marc Guechi, and he is 1.8 meters tall. This season, he has gone ahead to play 22 games so far. He has missed out on very many games because of injury, and he's the one that Man United are looking at, obviously bringing in through, to obviously coming through and do the job. And the stories are really coming in through from Gary Jacobs, a sports reporter for the Times, in there for you. So I call upon for 300 likes to be smashed on this video, and don't forget to subscribe. Let's talk Marc Guechi. The Muslims, Barakallahu Fikum, and the Christians, we cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Now, Marc Guechi has been scouted by Man United, as confirmed to us by Gary Jacob. Manchester United have prioritized bringing in a defender, and a striker, and Marc Guechi is on a short list that also includes Max Kilman. They have also considered trying to sign winger Michael Olise. That is it. He also added and said, Crystal Palace fear that Marc Guechi is likely to leave this summer. Man United and Arsenal have scouted him. He's expected to cost more than £55 million. Now, this is where I come in through and really say, all right, I like Marc Guechi as a player, but where on earth do you tell me he costs more than £55 million? Why? You can't tell me that he's that quality. He has the quality of a £55 million player, unless otherwise you're playing what we call the English tax. I love the player, left-footed centre-back, and when it comes in throughout Man United, I think he can really compete with Lisandro Martinez, because this season we trusted Lisandro Martinez to be fit as he was last season, but you saw what happened. Lisandro Martinez has been off. You know, I think he has not gone ahead to play even like 15 games this season. And that is Lisandro Martinez for the club of Man United. It shows you how bad it's getting for him. So, with a manager like Erik ten Hag, or with modern managers, they want to play with left-sided centre-backs. You understand? And if you want to play with a left-sided centre-back, Marc Guechi is really good. I find him as a press-resistant player. He's a very good ball-playing defender. He's fast, and he has found himself in a situation of really being physical enough to obviously deal with the physicality bullies of the Premier League, like the Erling Haalands and very many others, the Mikel Antonios of this world. So, you ask, do United need a left-sided centre-back? The answer is yes. But why spend that amount of money on him? £55+ million. And it's becoming a norm that English players are going for that amount of money. And I was shocked that Everton want close to £80 million for Braithwaite. I asked myself, what will the team of United be signing for? Do we have that money to spend? Ten Hag has come out and really said that this season, the reason as to why they've gone ahead to find themselves into that position of really losing out on very many games, it's because of the central defense. He's right. But that does not call for us to go mad and really spend huge on such players. I still insist on Todibo. When I say Todibo, I know most of you will say, all right, he's a right-sided centre-back, but we need a left-sided centre-back. Even if we need a left-sided centre-back, it's written nowhere that that left-back should be English. And it looks like they are on two English players that are really left-sided centre-backs, Braithwaite and the man known as Marc Guechi. Now, do you think it's right for United to spend that amount of money on Marc Guechi, £55 million plus? Do we have that budget with the new rule that is going to have to be obviously passed by the Premier League and voted by very many Premier League teams, that the salary cap of teams should not really exceed the amount of money the team that is going to have to be really promoting the Premier League really gets? You understand? So it is really very confusing that at this juncture you need to obviously come out and talk about Marc Guechi. I don't really see him costing £55 million. At least 45. That is it. Why? If you are to spend £80 million on one player, all 60 plus, that will be a very bad decision made by Ineos. Why? £80 million can be used to bring in two centre-backs. If you get into Todibo at 40, you can look out for another very good defender at 40. Lisandro Martinez was between 40 and £50 million. We can really get in another defender that is really good. But why do we get money that is supposed to get us two decent centre-backs and don't really divide it into two and really gate it once wholesomely to obviously get in one player? That is really very bad, and I don't really want it to happen. So I don't know in what sense will Ineos be looking at this deal, but I like Marc Guechi, but he's not worth that amount of money. And the big question is, will Marc Guechi be willing to come to club to see to it that he really acts as a second choice centre back or an understudy for Lisandro Martinez? I tell you, we all know that if Lisandro Martinez is fit, Marc Guechi has no position to play. That is it. He has no position to play. We should all admit it. He has no position to play. And will he obviously make that decision to come to Man United? I don't know whether he's ready for competition, but at his age of 23 years, you'd love to obviously upgrade and get in a team that is going to be getting you enough playing time. What made him not excel at Chelsea was because he lacked enough playing time. When he came in through at Crystal Palace, given enough playing time, you're going to hate to see what he has going to hate to obviously develop into. He has become one of the best left-sided centre-backs in the Premier League. Now, will he be willing to take that huge step to come in through to compete with Lisandro Martinez? He's more technically gifted. The only thing that he has better than this guy is the height. But you might find that, however much Lisandro Martinez is really 1.5 and Marc Guechi is like 1.8, Lisandro Martinez might have gone ahead to win more aerial duels than Marc Guechi. And now the agent of Marc Guechi has to come in through and really make a deal on what and where this player is supposed to go. I've gone ahead to see Arsenal obviously looking up to him. Yeah, Arsenal might look up to him, but I think however much Arsenal have gone ahead to scout him, they won't be in a hurry to sign a left-sided centre-back. They won't be in a hurry as a club of Arsenal. Why? They're having Jakub Kiwior and Gabriel Magalhaes. I think if Arsenal is to really think about signing a defender, they'll go in for a right-sided centre-back to obviously come through and compete with William Saliba, because you cannot say that defender put in that performance season in, season out when he's really not getting injured. Last season when he really got injured, Arsenal imploded, So, Marc Guechi for me, I love the player, but for that price, I'm not going for him. Broad daylight. I'm not going for him because of that price. I think we should get defenders between 40 and 50 million pounds. If a defender exceeds 50 million pounds, let's not go for him, because we have close to 5 players to bring in through. I've always gone ahead to reiterate this on several occasions on this channel. And after 2 central defenders, I've always spent like 100 million pounds on 2 central defenders. That means you have to spend like 50 onto a CDM. That is 150 million pounds. We need to get in a striker that will obviously come and compete with Rasmus Højlund. That is like 200 million pounds obviously spent. So we need a lot, we need a lot. Bissaka is going, you need another right-sided centre-back. Obviously, 35 million pounds for Frimpong. So if we end up spending a lot of money on one player, it won't really give us vibes of really getting in the players that we want. And you might sign that player, and that player might get injured. What are you gonna do? So it's better for us to get in 2 quality center backs. And United is looking at many. There is Andre Silva, though he's expensive. He's 80 million pounds. Then when you look at the other, is it Euro? That French guy, I think for him is really a little bit cheaper. Killman, I don't really want to go so much into him, but he has gone ahead to do a very good job at Wolverhampton Wanderers. But is he a Man United quality? I need to obviously spend some time watching him, because I haven't really watched him a lot this season. That is it. So Marc Guechi, scouted by Man United, is okay, and it depends who has been scouting him, because I don't think that the new Ineos side is going to be looking through the scout reports of the side of Man United, because they've totally gone ahead to get rid of everyone who was really doing the job, headed by the sporting director, old director of football, John Mata, who was really relieved of his duties at Man United, and we're having new people to do the job. I think the only person they can listen to is Erik ten Hag, on who he believes can come in through and really fit, and they'll have to assess him, look at his data, and then make a decision with Jason Willox, Omar Berada, this other guy, Dan Ashworth, and see whether those players fit the profile of Man United. So it's still a long way to go for the club of Man United, and I tell you what, it is really going to really give us the best as a side, because you're having people who know the game of football and are really going to make huge decisions that will help us go to where we want to be at the side of Man United. So that's all about Marc Guechi. Go into the comment section and tell me what your thoughts are about him. Do you really want him to obviously, do you want United to obviously come in through and really pay that amount of money? Thoughts are about him. Do you want us to come in through and obviously pay 55 million pounds plus for that player? I don't think he's really worth it. I don't think he's really worth it. That's why I say we should look elsewhere as a club of Man United, and we'll leave it at that. But other players are going to be linked to Man United as defenders. Braithwaite is really topping the list, and very many others that are expected to be coming in through for the side of Manchester United. Now, we go to Tim Sherwood. He was onto the Premier League TV, and he was asked about Kobbie Mainoo. And this is what he had to say about Kobbie Mainoo. He said the worrying thing is that the midfield does not run when the ball gets played behind them. Their heads start wobbling. That's down to the manager telling them and identifying it. Kobbie Mainoo, I like him. I really like him. But he has caught the Casemiro bag where he's jogging around the pitch. Christian Eriksen is the same. He's one of the most honest players you are ever going to find. I think is a culture there. I think it's a culture there, not willing to run. They are not running enough. If I was Kobbie Mainoo's agent, or youth team, I would say to him, when you first came into the team, you ran around with a desire. You are not doing that at the moment. And do not fall into the trap of what they are doing. You do not have good examples there. I don't think that he's not really running as he's really trying to accuse him. And all I would love is to see the stats of Kobbie Mainoo and the distance he has been covering in his previous games. And I'm going to be really tasked to look out for the distance this boy has been covering. I believe that this boy does not down tools. The problem has been him being played as a CDM in the recent games. Ever since we saw to it that all our defenders have gone ahead to obviously get injured and Casemiro was pulled back into the central defense, Kobbie Mainoo has been played as a CDM. And you see to it that he plays so much onto close to that central defense and he does what he has to do. I tell you, I've never gone ahead to see Kobbie Mainoo downing tools in any game. If at all you've ever, you can come out and address me, but I've never gone ahead to see Kobbie Mainoo downing tools in any game. He has been a pure professional, and I think it's a narrative being painted that this midfield doesn't run. And they tell you, one bad egg, all birds of the same feathers flock together. Because they've gone ahead to see that Casemiro doesn't run, although they are now also painting it onto Kobbie Mainoo. And those who say that Casemiro doesn't run, Casemiro runs, but I think he has lost his pace by a country mile, and that's why people say he doesn't run. But he runs, but his mobility is no longer as it was when coming through. He's not swift. I don't know what has gone ahead to cause it, but I believe it's not age. It's not age. And the other reason is the positional sense of Bruno Fernandez that I've always gone ahead to complain about here. I've always told you that Bruno Fernandez has always gone ahead to really make so very many runs onto the out wide right and left, when the team needs him to obviously come and make those central runs. I realize Kevin De Bruyne, Martin Odegaard run to the outwards. They should be running centrally to obviously put compactness in the middle of the park. It's very easy for a team to recover if at all the attack has been launched through the wide areas. But if at all the attack has been launched through the middle of the park, it's very hard for a team to survive. So this is where I don't really agree with Team Shield that Kobbie Mainoo is not really mobile enough. I think he does the job, but let's all admit, even if you're in the field of play and you are chasing alone, then you really feel you reach an extent and say, all right, I'm doing this alone and my elders are not doing this, so what am I dying for? That mentality has to come in through, and because he's young, you anticipate that to happen. But I tell you, he's a very decent guy, and I've not gone ahead to see him downing tools. If it's chasing, he chases. Physical battles, he's always involved. And I tell you what, he has gone ahead to make his mark. But one player chasing and others not chasing doesn't call in for someone to paint him as a player who is downing tools. I've gone ahead to see him do his job very, very well, and I think this week comes in through to see him rest until when we play against Crystal Palace on Sunday. Is it Saturday? Saturday this week, because today is a Tuesday. So that's it, coming in through from Team Shield, having to say about Kobbie Mainoo. But I believe Kobbie Mainoo is really doing his job, and I think he needs to obviously put on his lenses again. He's running, and he's doing his job. But the problem is he's being partnered with people who are really not of the same intensity. Imagine if I told you get like Amadou Onana and you play him next to Kobbie Mainoo. Will you ever come out and say he's not running? The space is huge, and no one can do that space alone. In this modern football, it's very hard to obviously have just one player who plays and patrols all that area. You need to be having other people that come in through to patrol that area to obviously offer you the best that you deserve as a team. So I think it's a wrong observation by Team Shield. And for Casemiro and Eriksen, I can agree with him, especially for Eriksen. He doesn't run, cannot cover huge distance, Looks like that one season he had at Man United went ahead to empty him and is naked to come in through and obviously take us to where we deserve to be as a club of Manchester United. So we wait and see how that is being painted. But I tell you, Kobbie Mainoo is the real deal. He has gone ahead to put in exactly the shift of what we're going to hit to want, And he even got himself an assist when you're playing against Sheffield in the midweek, which registered to be the first assist of him at Man United. And lastly, let's obviously talk about Mikel Antonio. And I've gone ahead to bring in this story because I saw very many things that we can learn from it. And he said the following about Roy Keane. It's dinosaur mentality. Because when Keane was playing, every manager, every fan, everybody constantly said, focus on your football. Go to sleep with the football in your arms, and only thing you are allowed to think about is football. Your wife deals with your kids. Don't play with your kids. Football. If I've got time to do this, then why shouldn't? With the podcast, I understand that if you have got battered on the weekend, which I did, it's not a thing about being sad for 2 weeks because there is another game coming next. You are meant to forget what happened on the last weekend and make it better next week. That's why a lot of players struggle with mental health problems, because people are telling them they are meant to struggle for 2 whole weeks because they've got battered onto the weekend. No. You deal with it. You are sad when you leave and for that night. So he's talking about a dinosaur mentality that Roy Keane would hate to have, something that we need to be having in throughout the club of Man United. And that's what made Roy Keane one of the special players. I've gone ahead to start Man United and was one of the best captains in the league. Do you know why? What he did as a leader. That's why when he left the club of Man United, Sir Alex Ferguson struggled a little bit with leadership at Man United TV, and went ahead and really slated all the players. And he said most of them were not fit to be at the club of Man United. So after all that, it was really written all over the wall that he couldn't really stay at the club of Man United unless he went ahead to make an apology. Something that he never went ahead to make, that the manager said, if you're not apologizing, then leave the club. And Roy Keane walked out with his head high. You understand? But he was in his mid-30s. You understand? But his dinosaur mentality was really huge. And to understand exactly what he really was at the club of Man United, you remember when a story that was told by Cristiano Ronaldo. Ruud van Nistelrooy went and reported Cristiano Ronaldo to Roy Keane and Gary Neville that Ronaldo, instead of obviously putting in crosses early, he first does his step overs. And guess what happened? Roy Keane went ahead to obviously attack Ronaldo and really told him a lot. And then Sir Alex Ferguson was watching, and he never even intervened, because he knew to it that to groom a player into the mentality of Man United, you needed a player like Roy Keane, Gary Neville. That class of 1999 was really huge. So when they came in through, they obviously had to really slate you, and Ronaldo failed very bad. Ferguson told him, all right, go for a holiday to Portugal for like 2 weeks, then you return. He returned in a better player, in a better mindset. You understand? So that's Roy Keane for you, and that's what we're here at the club of Man United. And we lack a player like that in that team. We lack a player who is going to do what a leader does. Bruno Fernandez, I don't think he's that feared in that dressing room, right? He might be a leader, but he has to obviously command respect in that dressing room and obviously be that fear factor. For example, the recent scenario that went ahead at Man United, where Bruno Fernandez was reported, where he went ahead and attacked Rasmus Højlund instead, because Rasmus Højlund went ahead to obviously have a fallout with what is it called? He fell out with Dalo, and Bruno Fernandez, he went ahead and obviously reported, After reporting, Bruno attacked him and told him, why did you go and bring the patos to the coaches? So a captain doesn't do that. A captain doesn't do that. You get? A captain doesn't do that. What the captain does is to obviously see harmony in the team and really find a better solution to what he's being questioned about. That is it. So if that is not solved, then we're not going to, because we need a leader. We need a leader. And when you look at teams like Arsenal, you look at Odegaard, you might look at him as a simple man, but he's not simple as you people think. He's a tough guy and he commands respect that dressing room. First and foremost, you have to produce on the field of play. Bruno does. He does produce and really shows exactly what he's supposed to be doing as a leader. But how he really tassels all this, because he's the connection in between the manager and the players. Now, if your number 9 is reporting to the coaches that you are not really giving him chances, do you know what that means? It means that there is no good rapport in between you and him. That is it. There is no rapport. That is it. So that means Bruno has to work on that, such that players can find it easy to obviously run to him and obviously report their shortcomings at the club of Man United. If he doesn't, then it's going to affect him as a captain, because he'll find himself having what we call groups and cocoons into that dressing room, something that you wouldn't like to be having at the club of Man United in any format if you're really to compete and really take things serious in the right mode or manner. So for me, I'm just here waiting to see how Bruno is going to conduct himself, as he is being linked to very many troubles facing him as Rasmus Højlund, and Dalot went ahead to obviously see to it that he found himself in a position of being exposed because of what he went ahead to do as a decision into that team of Man United. So that is it that we had today. I'm just looking in for that post of Rasmus Højlund where he went ahead obviously report to Bruno Fernandez, and Bruno Fernandez found himself in a reported Dalot, and Bruno Fernandez went ahead and really asked, I think reported Bruno Fernandez to the managers, you get, and Bruno Fernandez had to come out and really have a very good go at Rasmus Højlund and ask him, why did you do that? Why did you go ahead and really report me? You understand? Yet, if there was a very good rapport in between those two, then it would have gone ahead to be very easy for him to come out and really respond in a very proper way, and obviously maybe approach him and ask him, please, but you are my number 9, why don't you really play me in every time I show interest? That you should obviously play me in. You understand? So I think a lot has to be addressed at the club of Man United, but in the due course we wait and see how that pans out. But the story read, it was broken by Chris Wilder, and Chris Wilder works with the Daily Mail, and the story read as follows, because I felt like it would have gone ahead to be a very huge injustice if at all I never came out and really put it out right and set the record clear. Earlier this season, Erik ten Hag and his coaching staff were presented with a tricky issue within the squad when Rasmus Højlund complained that Bruno Fernandes wasn't passing to him enough. Højlund felt out with Dalot during United's 4-3 Champions League defeat to FC Copenhagen, and Fernandes sided with Dalot. So, obviously, I was one of the people who was here on this channel continuously saying that there is something wrong because Bruno isn't looking out for our number 9 yet. He used to look out for Ronaldo, Anton Martial, and Rashford every time they are really playing up front. You understand? And it has gone ahead to escalate to this level. And I don't know exactly where it's really going to go. But recently, in the game of Coventry, I saw Bruno Fernandes' deliberate effort looking out for Rasmus Højlund. Then later, I saw another effort of Bruno Fernandes looking out for Rasmus Højlund that resulted into the 4th goal that we scored against Sheffield. That was really good of Bruno Fernandes, and I gave him his flowers because he did his level best and found out Rasmus Højlund. And I think it came in a very good time because you needed that to be seen, that Bruno Fernandes for the very first time in the season has gone ahead to really create something for Rasmus Højlund as our number 9, because if he didn't, this story would have gone ahead to gain momentum. With the problems having at Man United, we wouldn't like to see such stories take what we call center stage. And I was like, who let this story out? You know, because for me, I take this as a leakage. Who let this story out? That is the huge question. We need to know who let this story out. But finally, They connected, and he went ahead to look out for him, and we went ahead to score. And I think Bruno should be looking out for our number 9 on several occasions, because he's the guy that can really score us goals. He has all what it takes to convert those balls into the back of the net and get us the happiness that we want at the club of Man United. So let's wait and see how that pans out. But it's really very important to note that United is really having a very bad spell this season. Playing next on Saturday, Crystal Palace. Marc Guechi is the person you're going to really play against, and Olise will be in the mood to obviously show Man United that, please, this is what you're missing. If you really want, then you can come and take me. You understand? So that is it coming in through from the side of the United Matters channel. You call upon for your reactions on United scouting Marc Guechi in the comment section below, right? Then what do you make about Casemiro or Kobbie Mainoo putting the foot off the Peddle accusation? Do you think that accusation is right or wrong? And obviously the captains of United, and how we should learn from the works of Keane to see to it that we emulate him, and see to it that we get a leader that can really command that team like he used to do way back. After him, there came in Gary Neville, Vidic to cover. Rio Ferdinand sometimes captained it, Wayne Rooney, but we haven't gone ahead to get a captain who is really that captain in the ilk of Roy Keane. So guys, good morning. May the living to God bless you abundantly. Rock and David remains my name. I sign out for now. See you later, and bye bye for now to everyone watching in through. We love you, and we will never forsake you. Last video of the day in the morning. We'll obviously start it up with the live stream as we had done way back. Let's get the charge in.